I'm talking about you have this and you have this. And these are two completely different worlds. In this new golden age, which we are a part of and entering now, there's many dynamics which are interesting. People are separated by their practiced worldviews and stories they tell themselves and varying forms of ideological possession. On the right, we essentially, at this point, embraced free speech, liberty, an aiming towards an ideal where America could be the best version of all things. Trump mentioned how we're going to go to Mars in his presidency. In his very first day, he's already brought in $3 trillion, half the GDP of the United States in one day, as an investment in AI that will create hundreds of thousands of jobs, especially in Texas. We're the party of reason, logic, merit, masculinity, individual identity, accountability, capitalism. And the left's identity has practically been shattered, where they're only really the party that is anti all of those things, the party that is built on resentment for anything that is true and coherent. Now, the fact that these are the stories that the respective groups are telling themselves is a serious problem, especially for women. As we saw yesterday in the video that I analyzed of the deranged female bishop essentially being completely tone deaf to what the American populace just demanded when she repeated her delusional propaganda in the face of complete change. In particular, women are going to have to make a serious choice. And I see many women already having their lives utterly destroyed on the left because they've bought in so deeply to this. It's not just a lie, it's an identity that requires a lie. The identity that requires complete resentment for masculinity, for coherence, for order, category, authority, capitalism, merit. And the reason why I say coherence so often is because that's an all-encompassing term for every single category I just mentioned. Their warfare and resentment is for coherence and category itself. And so simultaneously, while we have women like these two women here that are married to two of the smartest, most competent, powerful men in the world, while they themselves are feminine and happy, living beautiful lives with kids. And every other woman on the right who is either married or looking to be married in the future in a similar situation. We have women on the left who essentially have given up. I'm talking about you have this and you have this. And these are two completely different worlds. One is built on resentment and a denial of everything from masculinity to meritocracy. And the other is an embracing of everything that is coherent, true, and derivative of nature. It's obvious to any person, even those on the left, which is the right path. But the interesting thing is those on the left will choose the wrong path, knowing it's the wrong path, just to spite reality. Really, they're just punishing themselves, of course. But they'll choose the wrong path just to spite reality because their warfare is with truth itself. And this is the understanding we need to move into the zeitgeist, which is that the left is just an opposition cult to reality and everything coherent. They don't have values because most technically they don't believe values exist. They're morally relativistic. They believe everything is socially constructed. They detest even the conceptual notion of values, much less having their own. And if you look at their arguments or their talking points of we need to have universal health care for illegal immigrants or women need to be able to commit first-degree murder against babies, it's just an opposition to morality. It's not actual positions. Here we have one of those classically feminine women confronting a degenerate Gen Z OnlyFans anti-reality resentful freak.
Men laugh at women and treat us like we're idiots. Okay, no, they're not dicks. Majority of men have to deal with women like this. I'm sorry with disrespect, but if majority of men today have to choose to have the mother of their children, to build a life with you, to build a career with you, that you both...
And you hear the sigh because they're exasperated with having to deal with objective reality. It's offensive and oppressive because, it references reality rather than their ideology. I will say too that this is exactly what I was talking about in a video I released last week where I said women in this century, and I'll talk about this later in the video too, but women this century are going to look to these women and realize that they had the better lives by every measurable metric, by every recognizable metric, and they'll have to either choose not between this life and the other life, but between this life and resentment, this life and purposeful denial and inversion of reality. When they look to their grandmas and they see their grandma has been on OnlyFans and has lived a miserable life because she's taken every single decision and path that was meant to spite what she was supposed to do. And the young girls will see, okay, my mother is living miserable, whereas these other women have families and they're happy and their lives are night and day. and then they'll have to make a choice. And that choice will decide if in the future of humanity, for maybe millennia, if men will take women seriously on the intellectual landscape. Because it'll be like a filter. It'll be like the ultimate test of, will women choose reality or will they choose to invert truth permanently? It's a very interesting time we're living through.
Can build something together for the future, you know? To have a life with you, and you need to deal with...
Obviously, a lot of women agree with this base girl, and many women are base, and many women are looking to be wives, but those women need to do a better job of having dialogue with the broken ones and convince them, no, it's not good to sell yourself online for less than the price of a Chipotle burrito.
Somebody that have so many mental issues and so many body count, why would they do it? They'd rather be alone. I can't hear this bullshit, and I'll tell you why. Because you are a mother to children, you're sitting here in the podcast.
Yeah, it gets even worse. The young girl who's the OnlyFans girl is also a mother to kids.
I say, I'm a baby girl, I'm a slave. I don't want to hear this shit, because literally you disrespecting your kids. You are a mother before you are for yourself. You are a mother before you're something in this world. Before your career, you have a baby.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, because as soon as you have the baby, you're not living for yourself. You're living for the baby, not
Right. This is so cool.
for yourself.
Okay.
Your baby and your kid is the most important thing. You're supposed to protect them, love them, and protect them. It's not put yourself out there.
So when I saw this video, I knew I had to include it in an analysis because it was so deep. It's essentially, it's the deepest archetypally resonant video you could have, because it's a mother saying our primary purpose on earth is the infant. It's the image of Mary holding Jesus. It's the archetype of woman and child. It's the most powerful visual image women have of them with a baby. And what she's saying is, this is more important than the resentment of your cult. And if anything can break the adherence these degenerate women have to their cult, it would be this, because this spirit is much more powerful. The spirit is of God. It's of the highest order good possible, of you sacrifice everything for your child because that's your purpose, because that's the most important thing in your life, and it will also bring the most amount of meaning to your life. And any woman that denies that is self-evidently wrong, because we know it in every cell of our body, because we can speak it fearlessly. That's what's going on here, and I found that very interesting, that this definitionally degenerate and wrecked woman that does OnlyFans and denies reality and hates masculinity and says the opposite of the truth is eviscerated by the archetypal image of a woman holding a baby and saying, shame on you, this is more important. It's pretty much the most powerful thing. It's the most powerful form of accountability a woman can face. And that image, that archetype, will lead women away from this and to this. It'll save them, and it will save women across time as well.
And talk about their mother like that, because you're humiliating them. I mean,
oh, right, yeah. That's an incredibly important topic, too, which is that, so the resentment for reality which the left demands of its constituents, primarily women, says that you must sacrifice everything, including your children, on the altar of this resentful ideology. That's why it's demonic. That's why Satan approaches women, and his goal is to get them to sacrifice their children, because the mother holding the infant in that archetypal image, she's the fiercest protector of her baby on earth, besides God, the most fierce protector of the infant. And if Satan can get the woman to sacrifice the infant on the altar of the ideology of the left, which is built on resentment and demonic inversion of reality, then that would be Satan winning. It would be his goal. And so this woman is shaming this degenerate OnlyFans prostitute for sacrificing her child on the altar of Satan, basically. Very cool.
Embarrassed as a woman to sit at a table with a woman like you. You know?
Right, exactly. And then her final emotion is disgust with the broken woman, which is exactly what women need to have once they try to use words to save these broken women. If the women still deny reality and still want to invert truth, then the proper response is disgust. So that's very good. Here you see another example of that resentment, which illustrates the point I'm making here. Check this out.
Is the boss of your house. I'm the boss.
So we have a video from 1961 versus 2023.
Do you think you're his wife, are you?
Come on, what do you say?
I said, who is the boss? Who is the boss?
My husband.
What is your nationality? Great.
Look at that happy couple. She's not promiscuous. She's not dressed promiscuously. They're together. They're going to have kids. They're going to reproduce.
It is always that way in Greek houses.
Children will grow up knowing a strong, competent father and a beautiful, feminine, supportive mother.
Suppose the husband is the boss? Yes. Don't the women, the wives, have anything to say about it?
No.
Say you had a man and he said,
So here we go, 2023. You can see the women are dressed in demonic fashion, very promiscuous.
hey, when you go to escape, I would like you to dress modestly. What would you say to that?
Sorry, honey, we're breaking up.
It's interesting how their cult immediately demands the opposition to the first video, which is the union of man and woman. That's why we can say it has this moral quality to it, that it is overtly evil, because the resentment of the left opposes the realizations of nature. This woman, while smiling without hesitation, I'm going to say that again, while smiling without hesitation, says, if my man tells me not to be promiscuous, I will break up with him. You see how the resentment of the left destroys women's psyches and causes them to invert their proper place.
Same. No man is ever gonna tell me what to do, how to...
And they're celebrating that. They're happy in that. They're reveling in the idea of breaking up with a hypothetical man in order to appease the god of their resentment. Very, very interesting video.
dress, how to talk, nothing.
Would you
And here you see one final example of this resentment where a woman refuses to answer what 2 plus 2 is, because to do that would be to acknowledge an objective reality exists, and once you acknowledge an objective reality exists, you acknowledge that it therefore judges you because it's objective, and it demands out of you an individual identity to take accountability for the comprehensible aspects, the objective aspects of nature. Check this out. Sorry about the car video underneath it. I just found the video this way.
Depends on what the two is. Is it a pregnant mom? Is it two pregnant moms? Because that's more.
I'll start that again. So
2 plus 2 equals 4. Agree or disagree?
I mean, it depends on what the two is. Is it a pregnant mom? Is it two
this is a real video.
pregnant moms? Because that's more. Everything is not as
No,
simple.
I mean like
Her response to, her response to, does 2 plus 2 equal 4 was, it depends if it's a pregnant mom. So you see how the resentment for reality causes them to go to war with the concept of truth itself. I'll play that again.
2 equals 4. Agree or disagree?
I mean, it depends on what the two is. Is it a pregnant mom? Is it two pregnant moms? Because that's more.
This is also why, since the beginning of time, men have made sure women don't lead society, because they know it can degenerate to this. But let it keep playing.
Everything is not as
No,
simple.
I mean like math.
Just like 2 pencils plus 2 pencils.
They're laughing at the concept of math. Isn't that funny? He means math.
The number 2 plus the number 2.
I would say for the most part, yes.
For the most part. So, I mean, presumably this woman passed, like, first grade. I wonder what she put on the test. Or if she put the right answer on the test, I wonder what happened to her between that test, right, and where she is now. I'll tell you what happened. The resentment of Marxism. She didn't recognize it as a resentment of Marxism because that wasn't how it was presented to her. It was presented to her as liberation from the arbitrary and tyrannically masculine oppression systems that reality would try to put on her to force her to fit into the paradigm of objective reality. Rather than having her believe she's her own god, interesting inversion of biblical principles there, and that everything is socially constructed and she can say what 2 plus 2 equals. Because she was oppressed on that test when she was asked to say 2 plus 2 equals 4.
What do you mean for the most part?
Like I said,
What-
there's some
Like I said, and then you can hear the counterfeit performative tone that she takes, but she still takes it because she believes she's superior not only to the person asking her the question, because he's just an oppressor, but to reality itself.
variations where, but the thing is, even that is a flawed concept because
So women are going, again, they're going to have to choose between this and this. They're going to have to pick, and the outcome of them looking at the women who have lived the destroyed lives, their grandmothers, who will be grandmother age in about 40 years, and the women who were happily feminine, embraced reality, and all the rest, will determine if women are mentally taken seriously, maybe for all time, or at least for millennia,
it's actually
until AI can think for them.
that pencil is billions of atoms that are vibrating. So we've come to call it one pencil, but it's actually however many atoms
So
vibrate.
even the fact that you can say there's a number of atoms, it therefore imputes math, and that you could count the number of atoms. So yeah, she's trying to obfuscate and avoid saying 2 plus 2 equals 4 because she doesn't want to accept that reality is objective, because therefore it would judge her if it's objective. So that's exactly what's happening here.
Vibrating on the same frequency to make this appearance, this optical illusion that this is a pencil.
2 plus 2.
Right. I understand most women aren't like this. I understand that people will watch this and laugh, saying, surely most women aren't like that. But that's not the point. The point is that the cult of the left, in its resentment for reality, calls everyone to be like this. In the same way Satan calls everyone to sacrifice themselves on the altar of anti-reality. Never before have we seen crystallized the consequences of our free will so visibly. So visibly. So visibly. You understand what I'm saying? This is very important. Important concept. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Like the video if you're watching. If you've made it this far, consider becoming a member. Go to abrahambio.locals.com, linked in description. Since YouTube's demonetized us, they hate truth for now, so it is what it is. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.